Well, one, how excited I am about the future of soccer in the United States. We have come a long way since I was a kid. First started playing when I was 4 years old in Augusta, Georgia, and grew up with the game. And seeing where we are as a soccer nation and seeing where the federation is, gives me a lot of pride and gives me a lot of optimism around what all we can go do and all of what we can go accomplish. I was fortunate enough to meet the senior leadership team of U.S. Soccer quite recently, and was super impressed with everyone. The team that Will, my predecessor, and Cindy and the board have built is really awesome, and it's a testament to the culture that they've cultivated, and it's something that I'm lucky to walk into. And I've been really impressed with all the materials that have been shared with me, the level of sophistication, the thinking, the intentionality, the ambition of what the U.S. soccer staff and broader community is up to is awesome, and I'm super excited to be a part of bringing that to life. One thing that's really important to me is labor is never behind you. Labor and your relationship with your everyone is something you have to work at day to day. And so obviously we had historic collective bargaining agreements with our women's and men's senior national teams, but that's something that we have to work at every day. Same thing with our professional leagues, our youth national teams, our extended national teams, our referees, our players, our coaches, our partners, our fans. We can't take anyone for granted, and we need to show up every day and making sure that we're doing a great job for everybody. So while the CBA is awesome, and I think it's something that we all should be proud about, that was yesterday. Now we have to focus on what are we doing every day to make sure that we're doing a great job for everyone in the U.S. soccer family. The level of investment in our game is incredible. The excitement from fans and players is really palpable. We have a lot of big things on the horizon. We've obviously got the World Cup coming up in Qatar. We've got the Women's World Cup next summer, which I'm super pumped about. And then of course we're hosting the World Cup with Canada and Mexico in 2026, which is going to be a unique moment for our generation to really catapult to the next level for everyone in the soccer ecosystem. So there's so much exciting stuff going on, and I couldn't be happier to be a part of it. I was the son of two civil rights lawyers in Augusta, Georgia, and so this is something that has been ingrained in me since birth. Everything we do needs to run through the lens of what are we doing to make soccer more accessible, what are we doing to make soccer more inclusive, and what are we doing to be intentional around growing the next generation of whether it's players, coaches, referees, administrators, so that we have a diverse soccer community that reflects the wonderness of our country and helps us achieve the potential that I know we have. Grassroots soccer is where I'm from. This is what I grew up with, both as a player, as a referee assigner, as a coach, as someone who ran soccer tournaments, soccer camps, soccer clinics, recruited coaches. I've done all sorts. I've registered players. Anything in the grassroots movement, I've been involved in with it, some way, shape, or form. And so for me, the role as CEO and general secretary, and our role as U.S. Soccer is how do we grow the game and how do we grow the game for everyone? Something that I'm very passionate about, and it's the reason why, even though I haven't lived back home in over 20 years, I'm still involved in my youth soccer club, the Augusta Arsenal, still today, because of that passion I have for growing the game at the youth levels and everywhere from there. Some kids grow up wanting to play in the World Cup. I grew up wanting to organize it. I was a decent player, but I knew that my involvement in the game was going to tap out at some point on the field. And so even as a kid was super involved off the field in ways that actually served me very well in my business career. And so often early in my career in the technology world, we would be working on something that I've done something like this before. And actually it was all stuff that I'd done as involved in a youth club or in college, working with the college soccer programs at Stanford, and where I really cut my teeth initially in the business world, in the world of soccer. And so soccer helped me get a head start in business, which I'm excited to now bring that back to U.S. Soccer and do that full circle. I've always been excited by big challenges that require a whole bunch of different people working together to accomplish really ambitious goals. Throughout my career, whether it's taking on monopolies or trying to pull off big feats, that's what gets me excited. And I love being a part of an organization that have complex goals where success isn't always perfectly defined, And if you think about U.S. soccer, we have so many different goals. Our 2030 goals are super ambitious, but they touch across a whole bunch of different facets. And so how you think about prioritization, how you're thinking about how you work together to achieve those goals is something that I've had to navigate in my commercial career, and it's something that I'm excited to help navigate here with U.S. Soccer. I distinctly remember July 4th, 1994. I was at Mark Burson's soccer camp at University of South Carolina, packed in this cafeteria watching USA versus Brazil at Stanford Stadium, and just the energy in there. I guess I'd have been 12 years old, and being in a room. That was my first time ever in that big of a space with that many soccer fans watching a national team game. And we were the young kids in the room, and you could just see and feel the energy, and it's something that I was hooked. And then a few years later, was fortunate to be able to go to the women's national team semifinal and finals in the Atlanta Olympics in Athens, Georgia at Sanford Stadium. Went there with my family. I convinced my parents to get there the moment the gates opened, and we didn't want to miss a second of it, and loved every bit. So I've been fortunate to see the women win a couple gold medals. Saw them in Athens that day in 1996, and then also was fortunate enough to be there in London. Obviously as a kid it's got a special meaning, but even as an adult, I was sort of brought back to sort of my childhood and sort of the passion you have and the excitement and the emotion that runs through you when you see the Americans stand there on the gold medal platform and the national anthem playing. You still feel like a kid, and it's pretty darn cool. My number one priority is to spend time with the team in Chicago, with the U.S. Soccer staff and the broader membership, to make sure that I'm listening and learning around what everyone's priorities are. What are the things that are keeping them up at night? What are the things that are holding them back from being successful? So that we can come up with our collective set of priorities that we work on to align on what's going to have the biggest impact for us growing the game and growing the game for everyone. And that's really what my focus is going to be for the rest of the year, and I'm excited to get started. I want U.S. Soccer to have as big a tent as possible, and we want to be focused on growing the game for everyone. Whether or not you've historically seen yourself as a part of the U.S. Soccer family, we want to be as supportive as we can to everyone all across all the areas of soccer in the United States to be successful. And that is something that I view as a primary responsibility for me and one of the main missions of U.S. Soccer. We have these really ambitious goals. And if we're going to accomplish them, we have to get aligned on our priorities, and we got to figure out how we build a culture of teamwork and success to bring them to life. Something that I learned very early on, playing sports. A lot about teamwork is around open and honest communication. It's around having each other's back, even when things didn't go exactly how you wanted. And it's also around how do you focus on doing all the little things right, and the results will ultimately take care of themselves. And so, how do we make sure that we're showing up for training every day, our own equivalent of that, to make sure that we're putting in the hard work that ultimately sets us up for success. And I'm confident that when we do all those little things and we're focused on being better at all the things we're supposed to get better at, we're going to be wildly successful. Something I was fortunate enough to learn early on from a wise old coach who sort of mentored me when I was in my early 20s was you're only as good as your last game. That means when you win, everyone thinks you're brilliant, and when you lose, everyone thinks you're a fool. I think one of the things that we have to be focused on is to just get better every day, and to make sure that our priorities are aligned with the priorities of our membership and all of our stakeholders, and that we show up every day, give it our all, and we're not always going to get it right. We learn from our mistakes, and I hope our membership holds us accountable for that, but that we're all driving to accomplish the big goals that we have in front of us.